Hello there, Brick Fanatics, and happy Thanksgiving, I think, to all Americans watching this, or at least those from the United States of America. I don't understand Thanksgiving, if I'm perfectly honest. My main point of reference for it is the film Addams Family Values. I'm assuming that's not normal Thanksgiving behaviour, but I can't be 100% certain. Also, I've just looked it up and apparently Thanksgiving is next week, which shows how much attention I was paying. Anyway, for the rest of the world, Thanksgiving doesn't matter. What matters is Black Friday, which is less one day of sales and more kind of a buzzword for all kinds of marketing and sales promotions over the month of November. A bunch of different retailers around the world are doing sales and discount promotional periods and all kinds of things, giving away freebies, anything they can do to convince you to spend your Christmas money with them rather than with any of their competitors. The LEGO Group is getting in on the action with their Insiders Weekend, where a load of LEGO sets are going to be reduced, including, and importantly, a bunch of retiring LEGO sets that you're not going to be able to get from LEGO for very much longer. These LEGO sets that are retiring are going to be discontinued. The LEGO Group is going to stop manufacturing new stock, if they have not already done so, by the end of this year. We have done so many videos on all of the LEGO sets that are retiring this year. You can check out our super big list of absolutely everything that is retiring by the end of December 31st, 2025. There is a link in the description. But today, instead of going through that list again, we decided to do something a little bit different. The prevailing wisdom within the LEGO fan community is that once a LEGO set is retired, it becomes significantly more expensive on the aftermarket. But is that true? And to what degree does the retirement of a LEGO set impact its price in the year following its retirement? That's what we're going to be covering today. We're going to look at a bunch of LEGO sets that retired at the end of last year, December 2024, and we're going to see how their prices have changed on the aftermarket in the intervening months. Hold on to your hats here, because some of these are going to be quite surprising. Some LEGO sets have significantly risen in price, some have stayed about the same, and some have fallen in price quite a lot, so they are cheaper now than they would have been from the LEGO website this time last year. Now, methodology and caveats. So first off, I'm not covering absolutely every LEGO set that retired last year because there are so many of them, so I have picked a selection from a variety of different themes that I think give you a full gamut of different types of LEGO set. I decided to pick these LEGO sets based on some very important criteria. Are they LEGO sets that I wish I picked up myself but didn't, or are they LEGO sets that I did pick up and I want to know what return I'm getting on my investment? I'm one of those notorious LEGO collectors who will buy way more sets than they actually have space to store, and then end up storing a bunch of sealed boxes in the attic with the vague hope in the back of my mind that my investment will one day bear fruit, even though, let's be honest here, I'm never going to sell these things. Eventually I might build them, but for the moment they're just gathering dust in the attic. Now, as for how we're working out how much a LEGO set is actually selling for, I am using the eBay sold listings. I could have looked at Bricklink, but with the sold listings on eBay, we have a look at the actual prices that people are paying for these LEGO sets rather than the prices that the sellers wish people would pay for them, which is a significant difference. So these are the actual prices that real people have paid for these LEGO sets. I'm taking the last 5 off of eBay and then getting an average of those 5. And by and large, I will say there's not a lot of fluctuation in those prices. So it's not like we're getting huge outliers there that are spiking that average. More or less, most of these are selling for around about the same price, and that price is either around about the retail price for the set, or significantly less, or significantly more. I should point out we're looking specifically here at eBay sold listings that are new in box sealed. We're not looking at anything pre-owned. We're definitely not looking at sets where people have taken out the minifigures and are just selling the bricks. That doesn't count as a new set. Don't lie to me. Don't list that as new. I am just using pounds sterling here, the currency in Great Britain, so bear in mind that there might be some fluctuation in different markets around the world for these prices, but I don't think that we'll see an awful lot of that. And this is just ultimately to give you a ballpark figure anyway, so that you know how much Lion Knight's castle, for example, might increase by in price once it retires at the end of the year, because that is the one that everybody is the most interested to get hold of before it retires. I am not including some extraneous additional costs or discounts. For example, I'm going by the retail price for these sets when they were on sale on the LEGO website. That might not necessarily be the price that would be the best price for these sets when they were on sale, because there would have been various discounts at other retailers. Also, if you were buying this thing as it was retiring in the Insiders sale last year, then it would have been maybe a little bit cheaper, or you would have been getting additional insider points, which would have made the set a bit cheaper. I'm also not including postage costs on eBay or import tax on eBay, which is a factor with some of these sets where, unfortunately, especially in the UK, if you're buying from Europe, in recent years, you've had to pay import tax on a large Lego set that you might not necessarily have had to pay before. I say this from experience. It is not fun when you get that email from DHL saying, hey, we've got your package, you're going to need to pay us another 50 quid if you actually want us to deliver it. Right, with all of that out of the way, let's get started. Shall we do this as a bit of a game? I'm going to show you a picture of the Lego set, tell you what it is called, and you have to guess whether the price has increased or decreased in the past few months. First up, 75290 Mos Eisley Cantina. I was talking about this set recently with Cesar Suarez, the designer of the set. You can check out our interview with him. It is an absolutely brilliant Lego set. It retired this time last year. I feel like it set a very high bar for this kind of minifigure heavy Lego Star Wars set. But given how many exclusive minifigures are in this box, has it risen in price or has it dropped in price on the aftermarket in the intervening months? This one cost £344.99 at retail price, so that is how much you would have paid for it on the Lego website this time last year. It is currently averaging £295.07 on eBay, which is a 14.4% decrease in cost. So this one is actually cheaper to buy now off of eBay from a third-party aftermarket seller than it was at the time that it was on sale on the Lego website. As mentioned, when this thing was on sale on the Lego website, you would have got insider points, and buying it now off of eBay, you've got to pay potentially import fees, but certainly postage fees. So there are different little considerations there that might change that price slightly. But even so, a 14% decrease from the retail price is significant, and it does put to bed that long-standing fan theory that every single Lego set is going to be worth significantly more money in years to come after its retirement. But that's just one Lego Star Wars set. Let's do another one, which may or may not have a very different outcome. This one is 753138080, the big Ultimate Collector Series set, which at the time of its retirement on the Lego website cost £734.99. Now, significantly, this one disappeared before this time last year. I think a lot of people were hoping to get hold of it for Black Friday sales or something of that ilk, the Insider weekend, and unfortunately it was already out of stock long before that. So has that made an impact on its price now? If you were to buy one on eBay right this second, you would be paying on average £904.03, which is a 23.11% increase in price. So this one has risen significantly. You will be paying over £100 more for it now than you would have done if you had bought it from the Lego website in 2024. That I find to be a fascinating change. The fact that the Mos Eisley Cantina has lost some of its value while the 8080 has risen in value is just really bizarre to me, because of the two of these sets, if I'm perfectly honest here, the one that I would rather have is Mos Eisley Cantina because it's got all of those cool minifigures in it, and because even the official photos for the 8080 make it very clear that this thing is, well, at best it's a trip hazard. All I'm saying is that for £904, I would want something with a few more snowtroopers in it. Next up, let's move to the LEGO Icons theme with 21329 Fender Stratocaster, which had a retail price of £104.99. This one is significant for me because it is the Lego set that convinced me that I should start buying real Fender guitars, and because I bought real Fender guitars, I didn't have the money for the Lego one. But okay, maybe I've changed my mind. Maybe I'm going to pick it up now on eBay. How much am I going to pay for it? The average of the last 5 sold sets at the time of making this video is £158.17. That is an even larger increase than the 8080. That is a 50.65% increase in value, which means that you're going to be paying almost half the value of the Lego set again if you buy it now, as opposed to if you had bought it this time last year. I made a mistake by not picking that thing up, didn't I? Yeah. Now, the next one is really interesting, right? Because in 2024, there were no retiring modular buildings. There are a few retiring this year, but last year, no actual modular sets retired. But we have sets like this Marvel one, 76218 Sanctum Sanctorum, which is a brilliant build, one that I did buy myself, one that is still awaiting. Maybe I'll build it or maybe I will sell it. But if I do sell it, am I actually going to be making a profit on my investment? This thing at the time of its retirement, and that is a significant thing here because for some of these Lego sets the prices went up over the course of their lifespan, but at the time of its retirement this one cost £214.99 from the Lego website. The average price for it now on eBay is £166.93, which is a 22.35 decrease in its market value. So, if you, like me, have bought this one and you have kept it sealed and you have entertained in the back of your mind this idea that maybe it will be worth more in the future, no. If on the other hand you bought this thing, you built it, you really enjoy having it in your collection, then it absolutely doesn't matter what its market value is. What matters is that it has value to you, and do bear that in mind for all of the Lego sets that we're talking about in this video. If you like it and if it is worth the price that you paid for it, then none of these numbers matter at all. This is just an exercise in laughing at Lego investors. Now, the Sanctum Sanctorum's average price now is actually quite significant, £166, give or take some pennies. That is more or less the same price as it started at some retailers. See, when this thing launched, the Lego Group decided that they were going to up a bunch of their prices, but this one came out right at that moment as that was happening. So while for the Lego website it was selling around £200 for most of its lifespan, for a lot of retailers it started at £160, and unlike most modular buildings, which tend to be relatively exclusive to the Lego website and then maybe a few other retailers, this one went out quite widely to a bunch of different retailers, and there were a lot more opportunities for sales and discounts on it. And by and large, as I was constantly checking the price of this thing, I would more often than not see it at around that £160 mark, which means this one, yes, is a significant drop from what the Lego Group was trying to charge for it, but it is about in keeping with what you might have paid for it at various different other retailers in the United Kingdom. Moving on, we've got a Harry Potter set, 76405 Hogwarts Express Collector's Edition. This is another one which is significant for the number of minifigures included in it. I know of somebody who is absolutely a huge Harry Potter fan and felt that they had to get hold of this set in particular before it retired, solely because it's got all of those minifigures. But the minifigures didn't help Mos Eisley Cantina. Has it helped this one to hold its value any better? At the time of its retirement, the retail price for this set was £429.99. The average for the last 5 sold on eBay recently is £532.74. That is a 23.9% increase in value. This one now costs more, which is just kind of baffling to me because, yeah, there's a bunch of minifigures in here, but a lot of them are Harry Potter. And if you've bought any Harry Potter set, you've probably got a Harry Potter minifigure, and personally, I don't think that there's a huge amount of difference depending on what outfit he's wearing or how tall his legs are. Whereas with Mos Eisley Cantina, there's all those really cool minifigures that are just so wild and weird and wonderful, but yet somehow this one has risen in price instead. Moving on, another licensed IP set. This one is 77015 Temple of the Golden Idol, possibly the last great Indiana Jones set that we will be getting for at least the near future, until we get some nostalgic sets a little down the line. But certainly it's clear that Disney's not doing anything with the Indiana Jones franchise at the moment, so I'm not holding my breath for a follow-up to this set which really matches it in terms of scale and size. Oh well, at least we finally got a short round minifigure, only he's Data and he's in the Goonies. Anyway, the recommended retail price for Temple of the Golden Idol at the time of its retirement was £129.99. Its current average on eBay is £132.67, which is about the same. I mean, technically it is a 2.06% increase, but in practice, that's less than inflation for Lego sets in the past year, I would say. This is good news for me as somebody who kinda wants this set, especially considering how good I think it would look next to the Goonies on display, because they've got similar kind of functionality to them. I could still get it for about retail. Okay, that's interesting information. Technic fans, I am not going to overlook you in this video. 42157 John Deere 948L2 Skidder. This one, at the time of its retirement, cost £169.99. It now costs, on average, £124.98. That is a 24.12% decrease. This one has gotten significantly cheaper since it retired. Here's another fun one, 10274 Ghostbusters Ecto 1. This one and the next one we're going to cover are perennial LEGO sets, ones that just feel like they need to be in the LEGO catalogue at all times, no matter what. You've got to have some version of the Ecto 1, right? So without one at the moment, does that mean that the price of this one has increased? Well, at the time of its retirement, the retail price for this particular Ecto 1 was £209.99. It's now selling on eBay for an average of £192.09, which means an 8.52% decrease in value. This one is not clearly as highly in demand as some of the other sets on this list. Moving along, another of these perennial sets, 21056 Taj Mahal, because you need a LEGO Taj Mahal, right? It's just one of those things that you can't live without. Well, apparently this thing at retail cost £104.99 at the time of its retirement. It now sells on eBay for an average of £101.03, which is more or less the same. It's a 3.7% decrease in cost, so it's not definitely gaining any kind of value, but it's also kind of around the same level. And if you factor in all of those extra things, like maybe you get a good discount or some insider points, yeah, this kind of balances out at about the same. This one is holding steady in a way that Ecto 1 kind of isn't. Next up, the other pseudo modular building, the other one that would kind of work with your modulars that retired last year, was 71741 Ninjago City Gardens. We all like a Ninjago City set. These are absolutely beautiful, each and every one of them, but did it rise in value or did it fall after retiring? At the time it retired, this one cost £299.99 on the LEGO website, but the last 5 on average on eBay in the UK sold for £256 and threepence, which means that this one has actually dropped in price by 14.65%. That feels wrong to me. It feels weird that this one is somehow cheaper now than it was when it was on sale, given that modular buildings, generally speaking, are understood to hold their value quite well. And here is one which is kind of like a modular building, but also with that Ninjago layer on the top, which just looks absolutely super cool. I guess there's no accounting for taste. Anyway, this next one is possibly the biggest shocker on the list, but which way does it go? 76252 Batcave Shadow Box. There are always Batman Lego sets. They come in a variety of different sizes. They're all kind of much of a muchness. This one does stand out though as being something significantly different to a lot of the various different Batmobiles that we've had in the past. At the time that it retired, this one's retail cost was £344.99. The last 5 times that the official set sold brand new in box on eBay in the United Kingdom, they sold for an average of £605.84. That is a 75.61% increase in value. This one is significantly more expensive than it was at retail if you want to buy it brand new in box today. Next up, here's an interesting one, 71374 Nintendo Entertainment System. Now, there are so many Nintendo Lego sets now. We've just got the Game Boy, which is a really cool small kind of version of this, but that big Nintendo Entertainment System NES set, did that rise or fall in value after retiring? At the time it retired, it was being sold for £229.99 from the LEGO Group. It is now selling for, on average, £238.94. That is a 3.89% increase. Again, it's more or less the same price. This one is holding steady. Yeah, there's a little bit of fluctuation in there, but you're not like breaking the bank to get this one. You're not paying the set price and then another huge chunk on top of that. This one is more or less at the same price now that it was this time last year. Now, those of you who are considering Lion Knight's castle, pay particular attention to this one because this is a retiring castle. 31120 Medieval Castle. This is a Creator 3-in-1 set, so it is not necessarily as large and expansive as the Lion Knight's castle, but still, it's a castle, and we all know that LEGO castle fans are a particular breed of people, aren't you? You're lovely, you're wonderful, you will spend an awful lot of money on castles, but does that extend to retired Creator 3-in-1 castles? Let's find out. This one at retail cost £89.99. The average for the last 5 that sold on eBay in the UK, brand new in box, was £120.78, a 34.21% increase in value. Well, there's a surprise. 43215 The Enchanted Treehouse is significant for just how many mini dolls are in there. You've got basically every Disney princess, plus a few other characters that aren't technically part of that Disney princess brand, but are just nice to have in mini doll form. There's a bunch of exclusives in here. I think this is a really, really neat set, but has it risen in value because of all of those rare mini dolls? At the time of its retirement, its retail price was £149.99. At the moment, the average price it's selling for on eBay is £124.89. That is a 16.73% decrease in value. Next up, 1234 Everybody Walk the Dinosaur. It's 76961 Visitor Center T-Rex and Raptor Attack, which was actually quite difficult to look up on eBay because eBay just assumes that you're looking for a different T-Rex Lego set when you search for that. Also, just as an aside, with this one and with a few others on the list, the water is muddied a bit when you search on eBay because there's a bunch of listings for fake Lego sets that are basically the same but are made by a different company, and they're trying really hard to make it look like the real Lego set while not actually featuring the Lego logo anywhere. Those have been pushed to the side. We're focusing just on official Lego sets and, as said, just sealed sets here. At the time of its retirement, the retail price for this set was £114.99. It now averages on eBay £133.15, which is a 15.79% increase. It's not the biggest increase on this list, but it is not the smallest either. So this one has risen a little bit in value, which is interesting to me given that, as said, there are so many of these T-Rex Rampage Escape Attack sets in the Lego catalogue in the past that it is difficult for eBay to be able to tell them all apart. Now one that I don't think is maybe the strongest Lego art set, but it does have Spider-Man on it, so maybe that's going to help its price? 31209 The Amazing Spider-Man. At retail, it cost £169.99. It retired. It is now selling on eBay for an average of £116.24. That is a 31.62% decrease. This one has gotten cheaper. I'm not hugely surprised by that. Like, my spider sense would have told me that one way or the other, just because it wasn't the most popular art set. It's quite large, and Spidey looks a bit weird. We're almost at the end of this list now. I'm going to do 2 more. First of these, Brickheads fans, I'm going to give you some love here. You definitely need more love. Here is 40676 The Phantom Menace. Its retail price was £49.99. It is now selling new in box on eBay for an average of £35.53, which is a 28.9% decrease. So this one has got significantly cheaper since retiring. This is apparently not one that is in huge demand. Finally, let's wrap things up with one of the best sets of last year, something that a lot of people who wouldn't normally dip their toes into the waters for this particular theme were absolutely desperate to get their hands on, one that I know of many people who have bought multiple copies of in order to mock it together into a larger building. 80331 Family Reunion Celebration. Its retail price was £89.99. It is now selling on average on eBay for £135.56. That is a 50.64% increase in its cost. This one has risen significantly. I'm not surprised because it is absolutely gorgeous and it has a lot of potential for expanding it, and it's one that a lot of Lego fans are just really, really excited by. So there you have it, a look at some of the Lego sets that retired last year and how their prices have changed in the past year. Hopefully this is useful if you are looking at picking up some retiring sets this year and you're trying to decide, do I really need to buy it now or can I take a chance on buying it next year instead? Now with this list we've just just looked at sets from 2024. We've not looked at sets from further back. Let us know in the comments if you would like us to continue doing this kind of video and do some where we look at sets from 2023, 2022, going back further, and how those prices change over time. Also, do make sure that you do all of the YouTube things for this video. Give us a thumbs up and hit subscribe and the notification bell. If you're going to be buying any Lego in the near future, bear in mind that you can use the Brick Fanatics Black Friday page to know all of the best deals over the Black Friday period. Otherwise, if you're going to be buying specifically from the Lego website, there is an affiliate link in the description. There is a QR code on screen. It genuinely helps out the channel if you click on that link before you make your purchase, because we get a little bit of a kickback when you do so through those links. Otherwise, there is nothing left for me to say except for a final reminder. Yes, Lion Knight's Castle is retiring at the end of this year. I keep saying it because people keep asking about it in the comments. I want to make it very clear that one will not be on sale from the Lego website or from Lego stores into January. That one is gonna be gone. You'll still be able to buy it from aftermarket sellers, but as established in this video, castles rise in value after they retire. Just bear that in mind. Thank you very much for watching and have a wonderful day.